Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have got you the list of questions. Those were asked to me in my recent interview. Okay, let's dive in, but make sure you don't skip any of the parts. Alright, yeah. So the first question that was asked to me was how dependency injection works. So for this you can answer dependency injection in .NET is a design pattern used to achieve loose coupling between classes and their dependencies. Instead of a class creating its dependency, they are injected from outside, usually from external frameworks. And it can be done in three ways, that is singleton, scooped, and transient. Singleton, one instance for the entire application lifetime will be created, and in scooped, one instance per web request will be created. Transient, a new instance every time it's requested will be created. So all these three define the lifetime of dependency injected object. Okay, this is about dependency injection. Interviewer might also ask you what is the advantage of using dependency injection, and that time you can say we can have decoupled system. So the modules of software will not depend on each other, they all will be independent. So we can have a decoupled system. Then comes flexibility. Dependency injection will give flexibility when it is used in the modules. Then comes mock testability. So you can have a mock testing environment by using this dependency injection. This is about it. And guys, make sure to read this thoroughly because this is very important question that will be asked you in each and every interview that you will be going to attend. Okay, I have been asked this every time for all the interviews. This question was asked to me. This is the important and must know. So yes, so the next question is, tell us the difference between truncate versus delete. So truncate, it removes all the rows in a table at once. Delete, it will delete the selected rows. Okay. And delete will be used in where condition. Truncate, we cannot use it with where condition. Truncate is very faster. Delete is slower because it follows row by row fashion. Then comes truncate is a DDL, that is data definition language. Delete is a DML, that is data modification language. Okay. Then the next question is, tell us the difference between dispose versus finalize. So dispose manually free unmanaged resources, but finalize will automatically clean up before garbage collector collects the data. And dispose is a part of iDisposable interface, but finalize is a destructor. Dispose is explicitly called by developer by using the using keyword. Okay, by using the using keyword. And finalize is called by garbage collector automatically. These are the differences. We'll go to the next question, and that is the very important question. Everybody will be asking you, that is, what are solid principles? So, as the name itself says, solid principles are the 5 principles that we follow while we are writing the code. And these solid principles are very important. It helps us to manage several software design problems. So solid, it is an acronym of all these single responsibility, open closed, list curve, interface segregation, dependency inversion principles. Okay. Okay. So first one, that is single responsibility center. So it tells us that each class should do one thing only. So you can brief where you have used it in your project. I have given this example. So in my project, I separated file upload logic and antivirus scanning into 2 different services instead of putting them together in one class. This is about my project. You guys can tell about your project. Then the next point is open closed principle, or the next principle is open closed principle. So here it tells us that the code should be open to extension but closed for modification. Next comes Liskow's substitution principle. Here, derived classes should be usable in place of their base class. Next comes interface segregation principle. So, interface segregation tells us that the clients should not be forced to implement interfaces they don't use. Instead of one fat interface, we should use small interfaces, and interface should be closely related to the code that uses than the code that implements it. Then the last principle is dependency inversion principle. It depends on abstractions and not concrete classes. Here, high-level modules or classes should not depend on low-level modules or classes. And by following solid principles, it will help you to write clean code and it will be very readable. This is about solid principles. The next question that was asked to me was, what are collections? So, collections in .NET are classes which are used to store, manage, and manipulate groups of related objects. Instead of declaring multiple individual variables, collections help you to handle multiple items as a single unit, whether it's a list of names, numbers, or complex objects. Few of the examples for collections are list, dictionary, array list, hash table. And you can also tell to the interviewer that there are two types of collections, generic collections and non-generic collections. Generic collections are strongly typed, non-generic collections are weakly typed. These are the differences that I am telling you guys. And generic collections are faster, non-generic collections are slower. Generic collection does not need boxing or unboxing, but non-generic collection needs boxing or unboxing. Generic collections, the important thing is that it is used to store specific data types. Non-generic collections are used to store any data types. So these are about collections. So interviewer might also ask you, where did you use collections in your project? So you should be able to answer it. Okay. The next question that was asked to me was, without using for loop, how do you find the odd number in n natural numbers? For this, the answer is recursion. Okay, by using recursion, you can find the odd numbers in n natural numbers. Then the next question that was asked to me was, what is IOC? That is inversion of control. Inversion of control, it is a design pattern where the control of object creation and dependency management is inverted from the class itself to an external entity like container or a framework. Okay, and this inversion of control tells us about the lifetime of object and their dependencies that are injected to class or components. This is a very important question. Mark this question as important. Actually, all the questions that I am discussing are important questions, but all these were asked to me. Okay, it is not outside from my interview experience. Everything is from the interview experience itself. Then the next question that was asked to me was, tell me the difference between iHost and iWebhost. So iHost, okay, iHost, it hosts any app, but iWebhost will host only web apps. And iHost will use configure web host default, but webhost will use user startup. These are the two differences that was asked to me. Okay, the next question that was asked to me was, what is composite key in SQL? A composite key in SQL is a primary key made up of two or more columns in a table. It is used when a single column is not sufficient to uniquely identify a row. Okay. So the important points to be noted here are all columns in a composite key must be not null. Composite keys can also be foreign keys in other tables, and they enforce data integrity when natural uniqueness spans multiple fields. I'll go to the next and the last question now. So this is the coding question that was asked to me here. Okay, this was given to me by interviewer. He wanted me to write a code for this. So whenever I give input as numbers, then he should return the addition of those two numbers. And whenever I give two strings, it should concatenate or combine two strings together and display it to me. So he asked me this question. How you can do this is the program. Okay. So here first what we will do is we will have a variable like output 1 and output 2, and by using this variable we will be calling the method here, and we will print those variables by using console.writeLine. Here comes the main logic that we implement. We will have public static and a generic method called addition. So this is the naming convention. T will be used, which means it could be of any type. Okay. You should be knowing we will be using public static int addition, something like that. Instead of int, here we are writing T because T is used for any data type. And this is basically a representation how we write generic methods. And inside parameters, you should be knowing it like int A, int B, we used to give it. But here we are using TA, TB. Then here dynamically, we are having two variables, that is x and y. And this x and y will take the variables from the input for our, that we give input as input to our method, that is a and b. And at last what we do is we just add it both together, we return it. So it works for strings, double, int, etc. So you can use this program, and if you run this program, you will be getting output like this. Okay. Yeah. So these are the list of questions uh, for today. So yeah, guys. And I also want to tell you something. I know it can be tough to not qualify first, but don't let that discourage you. Instead, use it as a motivation to study harder and improve. Every no brings you closer to S. Okay? So keep pushing forward and you will get there. Remember, every successful person has faced setbacks along the way, including me. Okay? Even I have felt it. I have overcome it. So stay positive, stay focused, and keep working towards your goals. You got this. Yes. And thank you for watching this video. As I mentioned earlier, I will be discussing the questions asked to me in a part by part manner. We will meet in next video. All the best for job hunting. Bye.